Hey everybody, it's Ryan Ritchie from the DigitalLifestyle.tv. We're here at Macworld 2010 and we've stopped by the DriveSavers booth where I found Dr. Data, otherwise known as Chris Bras. How are you doing today?
Very good, very good. Thanks for visiting us.
No problem. So, DriveSavers, always saving data in some adverse conditions, but I understand there's something you want to show us today. It's a simulator showing us exactly what you can do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of people know about DriveSavers, but we realize that some people don't. And part of our mission statement as a company is really evangelizing and educating the public about data loss. And people ask us, why are you telling people to back up your data? Aren't you in the business of data recovery? The reality is that people don't back up their data, and you know that, and so does everyone else. And one of the things we do is education, as I said, and we've created a couple new tools to help educate not only the public, but service technicians and everybody else about how hard drives function and how they fail, thus the need for backup. And so we've released an iPhone application. It's called DriveSaver. It's free of charge on the Apple iTunes App Store. And we've done a Flash-based application for the web so that everybody else who doesn't have an iPhone, iPod Touch, or soon-to-be iPad can run our app from the web and learn about how hard drives function and how they fail.
Now, of course, a lot of us, we're getting now into solid-state drives. Hey, what could possibly go wrong? But as you know, there are a lot of environmental factors, fires, floods, that sort of thing. For people who aren't entirely familiar, why don't you talk about some of the worst-case scenarios DriveSavers helps out with?
Sure. Well, your mention of solid-state is very interesting because the newest feature in our app is solid-state disk failure. Solid-state drives made up about 2% of storage sold last year. Okay? And the reality is that people know a little bit about them and believe that they're always faster, quieter, more reliable. Well, some of those are true, but solid state fails just like everything else. Whether it be environmental conditions, electrical conditions, ESD is a big enemy, of course, of solid state. But related to rotational hard drives, that's what most of the world is using. Almost 500 million hard drives were shipped last year, and they will all fail at some point. At DriveSavers, we see everything you can imagine. In fact, we were demoing a drive that was just in a flood that's still full of mud and water. We had a demo of a fire drive that was here. Things get run over by trucks, laptops get dropped, phones end up in toilets. Anything can happen to any type of storage.
The stories around the DriveSavers lab must be legendary through the years.
Well, we call them discasters.
Oh boy.
And we are famous for our Museum of Bizarre Discasters, which you can visit on our website as well. But yeah, and the reality is most people lose data in somewhat boring ways, like plain old hard drive crashes, accidental deletions, formats of the wrong drive. But everybody is susceptible to this, myself included. The issue is whether or not you have the data backed up when you lose it. If you do, you don't really need to use DriveSaver services. But we know that many people aren't backed up, and that's why we're always here available 24 hours a day to help.
So let's take a look at the simulator you have here online.
Well, this simulator here is known as DriveSaver, and as I said, it's free of charge on the App Store as well. And this simulates how drives function. It also simulates how they fail. So you can click on any component inside of a hard drive and take a look at what it does and how it works. But the most popular feature is crash a hard drive. Now, have you ever experienced data loss before?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Well, one of the most common types of data loss is what's known as the click of death. That's an actuator or head failure. And if we look at that, we've got one of those happening right here, where we can actually watch and listen to a drive clicking and failing. Okay? But we talked about SSDs and the reliability of solid-state storage. Well, of course, we've added that. Now, solid-state storage is NAND memory on a board with a controller, but electrostatic discharge is potentially volatile to one of these units, just like environmental conditions. So, although yours may not fail quite so dramatically, we like to educate people about the potentials. And the most common failure, of course, is still a head crash. And a head crash is when media damage begins and gets worse. And you can probably hear that in the background clicking away.
Yeah.
The reality is that all these devices are going to break at some time, and we're trying to tell people to be prepared for it. And if they're prepared for it, then it won't matter. They can simply replace their hard drive. But if they need their data back, they want it recovered securely, they can contact DriveSavers 24 hours a day and we can get that data back.
And you guys have done some, as you said, the discasters, some pretty amazing recovery jobs through the years. So it's really cool.
Thank you very much. We're very proud of all the work that we do for so many people.
Thank you very much, Chris, for joining us. And again, you can find out more at DriveSavers.com. digitallifestyle.com. For thedigital lifestyle.tv, I'm Ryan Ritchie.